More than 50% of the traffic to your website is likely to be from mobile devices according to the latest statistics. If you're spending money on driving that traffic, you don't want to simply maximise all mobile traffic, but specifically the traffic that helps you to meet your campaign goals. The problem is, how do you tell which is which? Let's tackle the initial part of the puzzle. You need to understand where to direct mobile customers on your site so that there's the highest chance of them converting. The conversion objectives are set by your business. The conversion event is triggered by your content. For this example, we are going to compare landing pages containing a white paper which users have to register to download. In this case, the conversion, or the download, happens on the actual landing page. We have one white paper to promote, but we don't know which landing page layout works best for engaging mobile visitors and generating most conversions. We've created 3 variations of the landing page, each with distinctly different content. Now we need to understand which of these pages had driven the highest volume of downloads from the mobile visitors who make up the majority of our traffic. Launch Netbiscuits Analytics and set your date range to give you enough data to work with, let's say the past 30 days. Now open up the filters section at the left-hand side of your screen and choose the following options. 1. Set device type to feature phone and smartphone. 2. Under domain, select your website if the code is installed on multiple websites. 3. Now copy and paste the URL of your first landing page into the page field. You only need the path following your main domain, so if the landing page is mywebsite.com/resources/whitepaper1.html, you'd paste in resources/whitepaper1.html. 4. Click Apply and the graphs update to show all traffic for web-enabled phones on the landing page you've specified. Now for the next step, you need to switch to the Sessions tab in the main navigation. Looking at the first graph entitled Over Time, use the contextual menu to change the granularity setting to period totals. This will give you an average for the total period of time you have selected. You might also want to set Compare By to None to make the graph easier to interpret. Make a note of the numbers in a table. You'll be repeating these steps for each page you want to measure. Now navigate over to the Bounce Rate tab. You want to understand how many of these visitors were qualified, that is, whether they completed an action or stayed on your site and visited other pages. You should ensure you include a page after the conversion button, such as "Thank you for downloading," or your traffic could be all counted as bounces. Any traffic which enters and exits from the same page may be considered a bounce. Okay, now repeat steps 1 to 4 on the Bounce Rate tab and add the bounce rate for each page as the next row in your table. Then add further rows to calculate the qualified traffic, that which didn't bounce. In other words, total sessions minus bounces. This gives us our first indicator of performance, as we can see how many people entered the landing page and didn't immediately leave. But what about those who actually downloaded the white paper? This is where we need to take a look at the Conversions tab. Firstly, make sure you select the correct event from the drop-down list if you have more than one conversion event on your page. For example, a white paper download and a newsletter sign-up. To get to the really valuable data of which of your pages is driving the maximum conversion rate, look at the Pages tile directly under the main graph and select detailed data from the contextual menu. In the resulting table, take the totals from the Total Conversions column and add them into a new row in your table. Then add a final row to calculate conversion rate percentage. That's conversions divided by sessions. So in our example, we can see that while the page White Paper 2 is great for bringing new users from the site who then go on to explore further, it actually performs pretty poorly in getting them to download the white paper. Whereas White Paper 1 performs best in driving our desired conversion activity. You now have the data you need to understand how page content is influencing user behaviour. Ideally, you can use this to create a hybrid of both, which will drive conversion and then encourage dwell time on the rest of the site. This approach can then be tested using exactly the same process.